Namaskar, hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙀 and I am with the one and only Dr. Subramanian Swamy, and I happen to be in his office today, and he was kind enough to give me the time to share his thoughts on the current state of Indo-US relations. Dr. Swamy, Namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Yes.
Dr. Swamy, can you kind of walk our viewers through how you see the Indo-US relations progressing, given that there are so many gyrations? Only European Commission CEO or chairman, president, I don't know what the name is, but I could see that there was the equivalent of a red carpet welcome anywhere I saw in the NDMC. I only saw her posters. Maybe it's par for the course, I don't know. But it felt certainly that India was really laying out the red carpet. Your thoughts on where India-US relations are headed, sir?
No, Indians are great ones at laying out red carpets. You see, it means nothing. What we have to see is what's come out of it. Indo-US relationship is in my opinion, one of the most simple subjects which have been complicated by sheer lack of honesty in dealing with each other. The history, however, is that the United States of America has been, right from the time we were fighting the freedom struggle, very sympathetic to the Indian peoples, despite their close proximity to Britain. In World War II, Roosevelt, after the Pearl Harbor, when he formed the triad or whatever, Russia, and then Soviet Union, Britain, and the United States, and of course, ultimately for China, which later became Taiwan. I mean, but because the communists took over after in 1949, India was sought to be brought in by Roosevelt as one of the members who would have then been the original five, and of course People's Republic of China coming in late in 1972 as the sixth. But to get back a little, Roosevelt proposed that in the war, the three countries should now not only have China but also have India. Chiang Kai-shek's China was brought in, and it became part of the group of the major group of the war against the war. But India, Churchill objected, saying it's a colony, it's our colony, and we protest. We don't agree. We have no intention of giving them any freedom. They don't deserve freedom and all that, the usual thesis. After India became independent in 1947, in China, the Chiang Kai-shek government was overthrown in 1949. And the communists took over, and United States expelled, or rather prevented the People's Republic of China taking the place of the Republic of China. But the Republic of China was also told that you are reduced to Taiwan, and it's not going to be, you're not going to be a country fit to occupy that chair. And I'm giving you this background to show you how far the Americans at one stage gone. So John Foster Dulles called the Indian ambassador, who at that time happened to be 𝙤𝙧𝙤𝙪𝙥𝙥 Pandit, and told her, please inform the Prime Minister that we will replace Taiwan with India, and India would be a permanent member with a veto. And lo and behold, they were shocked. We were all, and now in retrospect, because I've learned this much later, shocked that Jawaharlal Nehru said that this seat belongs to the People's Republic of China, and we can't take that seat. So the Americans had no alternative but to keep the seat vacant and temporarily Taiwan occupying it till it is decided who is the real China. In 1972, the thaw took place with Nixon, and Nixon anyway never liked India, so he replaced Taiwan with the People's Republic of China. So India has been out of that not because of the United States, but because of the fact that Jawaharlal Nehru did it. And according to me, there are a few declassified documents, classified documents I saw as a minister. Jawaharlal Nehru did it at the insistence of Joseph Stalin not to accept it. And why he did it at the insistence of Joseph Stalin? Because according to me, this is a controversial subject, but I'll still give you my view. Stalin disposed of Subhash Chandra Bose to help Jawaharlal Nehru to be uncontested in India. Otherwise, if he had allowed Subhash Chandra Bose to come to India, that would have been the end of Jawaharlal Nehru. So, all through this pro-Soviet attitude of ours, which is now being sought to convert it into pro-Russian, although Russia is a small part of Soviet Union, the Indians have always, because of Jawaharlal Nehru and then the subsequent leadership being influenced by the KGB in one way or the other. I won't go to the extent of saying in what way they were influenced, but I'll say this KGB continued to play a major role in India in providing money to Indian politicians. All these are available in the Woodrow Wilson library and the Library of Congress, documents which the Americans photocopied in the KGB headquarters during the fall of the Soviet Union and Yeltsin coming in as president, which shows that a very large number of Indians were on the had received vast amounts of money from the Soviet Union over the years. And so the bottom line was that we can't annoy the Soviet Union. And within that framework, America, is a fascinating place. Indians want to go and study there and so on and so on. The kind of a normalized relationship, but not friendly relationship, not a friendship of strategic value was there. Now, I would say that the Americans are not used to that. They wanted something from India to counter China, which is now the norm that is becoming for America. There was a big period when Americans and the Chinese were chummy, see. But now, again, that old situation is coming up. But at that time, they were quite anxious. So much so that John Kennedy, as president, told Jawaharlal Nehru that your atomic energy chairman has conveyed to our atomic energy chairman that India can explode the atom bomb anytime when the political clearance comes for it. So he gave the information in 1963 that sometime next year China will become the first Asian country to be able to explode the atom bomb. In those days it was a matter of great prestige.
Yes.
And said that you do it before them, and that will give you an enormous support, and we will see to it that you come into this Security Council as the sixth country. But Jawaharlal Nehru said, peace is a passion, all that rubbish, and he did not do it. The Chinese in October 1964 exploded the bomb, and the whole attitude of the West changed, and the toying with China started at the cost of India. So here, up to here, I'm telling you what it shows is the United States always wanted to be friend with India. And it is our compulsion to be with the Soviet Union. It's not some great love. Of course, we adopted all their silly 5-year plans and so on, and all flopped. It flopped in Russia also, it flopped in India also. And we couldn't exceed a 3.5% rate of growth, which sneeringly the leftists, instead of owning up that this is what the Russian model is capable of, they called it the Hindu rate of growth. I am sure you heard of this phrase. It's an insult to the Hindus. I mean, insulting Hindus is something. It was a plaything.
It continues to this day.
Yeah, even today. So now there was a period when I was a minister. I dealt with the Americans. I found the Americans were true to what I always believed them to be. They were give and take people. You want something, give them something. If you give them something, better take something, otherwise they think you're a country bumpkin or an idiot, you see. And if you take something without giving something that they want, then they think you're a rascal, not worth being friends with. So this give and take thing I found when I told them that I will allow your planes from Philippines to refuel in India, breaking our old policies on non-alignment, so-called, which was really Soviet alignment to the exclusion of alignment with everybody else. And then, they could fly to Saudi Arabia. That refueling led them to give me what I wanted, namely, that time $2 billion from the IMF. So, I have tested this. Today we have reached a situation.
Sir, may I interrupt you for just one
minute?
Yeah, sure. See, this this fuel refueling, you are in a very tender majority, wafer-thin majority government. How did you manage the press? Those days press was pretty open. From finding out that American planes were indeed landing and refueling and taking off, how did you manage the media then?
Just by not caring. If you publish what you like, I care a damn. There were people nervous in my party, and there were many leftists also in my, in Chandrasekhar's.
1 foot out, 1 foot in.
So, one of the ways I threaten the leftists is I will shut down the export of rice to China, to Russia. You know what that racket was?
Yes.
The Russians used to pay in rupees. We used to have rupee payment. Russians used to pay in rupees the basmati price for what they wanted for cattle, which is parmal rice. So the difference, they divided for KGB operations in India and
for the other
politics.
communists.
Wow. Not communists only, congressmen.
Left-leaning congressmen.
Even Ďevugoda. So anyone who wanted money, they were ready to give. So what I'm saying is, how I got away with it, I told Chandrasekhar, we will have to default. Your finance minister, he had finance minister Yashwant Sinha, he said he's a dummy, he's more interested in getting Bollywood actresses to come to visit him than the IMF. And anyway, the world, everybody knew I held the power, because without me, Rajiv Gandhi would not have supported Chandrasekhar. And therefore, they gave me that, they are clever enough to understand this, and so they gave me the maximum. And I was American educated, that to Harvard educated. And so, that's all put together, and that I was anti-communist has been established over there. And the communists hated me, that was also known. So that gave me a lot of leeway with the Americans. And so there was nothing, it produced the results. We were saved default. So that's how we got over it. Today, we have reached a new stage. And that is what we should know. Our country had reached an agreement with China in 1996, thanks to Narasimha Rao and of course my assistants. I had been in 1981 to China and made friends with Deng Xiaoping, who opened the Kailash Mansarovar, created a tremendous atmosphere for 𝙒𝙗. And we decided to formalize it by removing the border issue to a processed long-term solution. I said, whatever you have just now, you keep. Whatever we have, we keep. And we draw a line, the line of actual control. And on that basis, we say, till we come to a final conclusion, neither this land is yours nor this land is mine, then we won't argue all that. We will settle down and negotiate. That was the idea. Then Narasimha Rao lost the election and the whole momentum went, and after that it just became a ritual. Now the question is that the Chinese have violated this mutually agreed line and crossed into India. And this after Narendra Modi had met Xi Jinping 18 times one-to-one, either in India or in China. And he doesn't seem to have had a clue, or the Chinese cheated him. They probably thought he was not well versed in foreign affairs, he was only interested in the hype and all that. They gave him a lot of hype. But they crawled in, took over 𝙒𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. Now 𝙒𝙤𝙤𝙤 is the route we take to go to Siachen. And Siachen is a snowbound thing which slips down to Pakistan. So the Pakistanis can't come up very easily, you see. So it's very crucial for us, and I must say, to the credit of Rajiv Gandhi, he actually sent the army and took over forcibly Siachen, which was there that time. Nobody was occupying it, but he took it over. It was considered as an anti-market.
It's a very hostile environment.
Yeah, very hostile. That is now under threat from the Chinese because they have taken over 𝙒𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. Galwan, our chaps, climbed up against the orders of the military, and barehanded, they followed that protocol. There will be no firepower. Barehanded, they killed 20. Ours got 20 killed. There's some people even say 113. I think in one of your channels, one of your shows, some Chinese came and said who's now not with mainland China. He had said 113 or something.
Yes.
So, what bravery. That also we have given up. And the Chinese have now built a bridge across the Pangong Lake, which makes it very easy for them to come and capture. Very soon they may. The Chushul airport, which is the only all-weather airport we have in Ladakh. All this while the Prime Minister says nobody is come. So, the Americans are puzzled. I am the only one in India who is openly attacking China. I don't need to, I was their friend. But I had told them very frankly, you have taken our land, which was mutually agreed as ours, and you've done it clandestinely. Now they gave broad hints, no, the Prime Minister was told in advance, no, I can't believe all that propaganda unless I see something in writing that the Prime Minister has agreed to. Mr. Modi had agreed to it. But so now the Americans feel with our manpower and our strategic positioning, because Tibet is to be crossed by the Chinese if they want to really wage a war with India. We are in a position where we can drive the Chinese across into Tibet. Crossing into Tibet we don't have to do, but we can make them cross. Because all this terrain, we have the advantage. So the Americans feel that you should be with them. They will give you the weapons. We don't need their manpower. We got more manpower than them. So on that basis, they want to build a solid Indo-US relationship where they can give us weapons at dirt cheap prices. And that is why Quad was formed. But I will say on your channel that Narendra Modi has an inexplicable silence on this whole issue as far as going with the Americans and against China. And very often our people are such simpletons. They say Russia has been our historic friend, they have always stood up for us. Where have they stood up for us? Even in Bangladesh. They told Mrs. Gandhi, and this is recorded, and General Jacob, who led the conquest of Dhaka, they said you cannot obliterate East Pakistan and bring in Bangladesh. You have to stop short of Dhaka and negotiate a peace for the Bengalis, but not Bangladesh. These are all on the record. And when have the Soviets really done? They gave you a lot of weapons, but we paid for it. We paid for all the weaponry we got, of course, in rupees, but that suited them. They wanted rupees to spend in India. So, the key point today is on Indo-US relations. Are you willing to accept the mandate to fight China, and whatever hardware you need for that, the Americans commit as part of the Indo-US friendship to whatever you ask for, F-35, and they can't say this is not for warfare in the hills and all. No, I want my weapons for the Indian Ocean, I want my weapons for the plains, I want weapons for the mountains. And if the Americans are going to give you that, so that you take the decision not to go and invade China, but to evict China from your own territory. And of course, that means you also can evict them from 𝙒𝙬𝙤𝙪𝙥𝙤. Are you willing to? You put in your, and you have already demonstrated that the Indian soldiers are far more brave and far more astute than Chinese. You see, Chinese problem is they have this one child per family. So if you have one son, that's the,
We all
and you can, and they go there. You compulsorily recruit them and then send them to the frontier, and they get killed. That's it. Then for old age, there's nobody. They are also like us. Their family depends on their sons. You see, so I think we are making a big mistake in not grasping the hand of the Americans in return for modernizing our weapon. He says the Russians give us arms. What arms they give? S-400. S-400, the entire electronics in it is Chinese. And the Chinese always get first preference. Right now they have said, no, because of war we can't give you any S-400. And of course there is a question in my mind, I'll put it to you in PGurus, that there were some commissions that were paid. That I don't know who I'm not in a position to document who got it. And so you are not able to say no to the Russians because they have now got you. The Chinese have got you because they have got the Russians. The whole world knows that the Russians are the junior partners of China because they depend on Chinese money. We rescued, thanks to me, Sri Lanka. Otherwise, they would have become another junior partner. All the present problem is because the Chinese are demanding all that money and they don't have, and then they made some policy mistakes on agriculture and so on. It's all compounded.
Aggravated it,
Yeah. So, if somebody were to say Americans are difficult people, we can't go to them, that's nonsense. You have your commitment to Russians, which is not a healthy one, those commitments, and you have their masters, their senior partner, in possession of your land, in violation of the agreements made in the 1990s. So what do? And you got the Indian Ocean, which the Chinese have been itching to find some access. They nearly got Sri Lanka, but now we have reversed that thanks to the Rajapakshas. And then there's Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, all want India to be to lead the anti-Chinese front, but we are not willing to take that because of obscure reasons, to put it gently. And I think now the Americans are getting exasperated, and I hope they don't do something which will hurt India, because in this Ukraine matter, it is a democratic country, and they had disarmed themselves. They even had shut down their nuclear reactors, and they could have produced. In fact, when it was part of Soviet Union, they had the largest share to contribute for nuclear weapons, and we can't take a stand. We can't say no. This is, to satisfy domestic criticism. They say, oh no, we are giving this a relief, that relief. We have evacuated all the. The fact is that the Americans now realize that the Russians have a vice-like grip on India, and they will not do anything. And at the moment, the Americans are just laying down the rhetoric, except saying, on this question of human rights and all that, which and then of course the present administration in the United States is left-wing. They don't like our Hindutva. Too bad for them, but the fact is that they don't like it. So we can have some compensatory value, for which the Americans will very quickly forget, like they have forgotten for all these years the treatment of Muslims in Xinjiang. They don't say a word about it. You see, so in short, I'll conclude, and then you can give your point of view. You can have a discussion. In short, there's never been a more appropriate occasion for Indo-US bonding to take on China than now. The entire morality is with us, the strategic value is with us, and it also will pave the way for India to become a permanent member, the 6th member of the United Nations. And the Americans can do that. And I know when we were for a brief while in government, just because I said they should be allowed to refuel, they even went to the extent of wanting us to be brought in here, brought in there. They were our big advocates. So we should use that American soft power too. They have a hard power, but they have a soft power too. And that many of our Indians have now benefited by education with now these cyber warfare techniques, electronics, so many things the Americans can give us if we are with them as a partner, and this is the most appropriate time.
Dr. Swamy, what you're presenting is a very practical and workable feature. Now, can India also say, okay, we will do this, but in addition, you recognize POK and 𝙒𝙖𝙪𝙥𝙥 as part of India? Always see what it is like, what kind of a political capital can I, draw from this? Sometimes what happens, Dr. Swamy, is, like you said, there are so many Russophiles that India has. So you need to tell them, look, I got this plus this and this. Why can't India bargain like that? It's a very simple thing. Recognizing somebody's right is an easy thing.
I would say that as a practical man who has dealt with the Americans at one stage, even officially, there is something you must give them first before you can ask something so substantive. If they recognize that POK is part of Kashmir and Kashmir is an integral part of India because of
Accession Act and all that.
Accession Act, 1935 British India Constitution. We can have a secret agreement. At first we agree, then you bring in all these weapons. And then, once you're satisfied, we are now a serious partner with China, against China. I think the Americans will also find it easier to sell it to their people.
Yeah.
So, at that time, you should have some assertive power on your own public. I mean, I can't bribe them. I want something for my strategic arrangement. Whatever the criticism, I must do it. By the way, in those days I was criticized very heavily that I sold out to Sharad Pawar.
Of course.
Was in the forefront. He is the one who leaked it to the press also. It was kept quiet. But I said, Chandrasekhar said, this coalition is Swamy and Rajiv Gandhi. You talk to both of them. All the leftists went to Rajiv Gandhi. So Rajiv Gandhi kept asking me, how long is this going to go on, this refueling? I said, it's going to stop within the 1 week. So,
yeah, it was only 100 hours.
I know.
100 hours, that was it.
That's it.
So, yeah.
So, it got over. Then he said, Rajiv Gandhi went to Russia, Soviet Union, to meet Gorbachev to explain. He instead told him, contact Mr. Chandrasekhar and ask him please to recommend me to the Americans. This is on the official record. And poor Rajiv Gandhi looked, he just drew a blank. Then he came to Iran. Iran said same thing. Oh, the Indians, they are now treating us like fellow Shia brothers. So, I mean, there are ways on which you can, soften these things. So I think we should tell the Americans, the people of India, that we have very short weapons, and because of this Ukraine war, the Russians have shut down all the weapons we should be getting at this time, and therefore, we need. And Russians are very good friends of the Chinese, if you don't want to say they are junior partners, and even when the Chinese came into India clandestinely, the Russians told us it is just a routine.
Yes.
We have
dealt it at length in one of our hangouts. Yes, April 20th.
That's right.
Yes.
There was a lady officer. We transferred her out and rebuked her. She was the first one to tell us that these people have already come across and they are preparing to take over the whole of Ladakh. So I think we should not be driven by the masses. There should be occasions when you must lead the masses. And it's a question of explaining. If you have an accreditation or a reputation for being an independent person who can tell anybody anything, like myself, then you tell them, no, you wait. This will also help us in Kashmir, it will also help us in the United Nations, all this. But you can't do it all overnight. But at the moment we are getting the weapons we need most of all, the most modern weapons of the world to deal with China. And people will not press any further.
Thank you so much, Dr. Swamy. As always, every conversation with you is a new revelation. There are quite a few revelations in this episode. Viewers, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. We really need your support. And also don't forget to click on the bell button. Namaskar, sir.